You gather your family around and tell them all the ways they have disappointed you over the past year. A new holiday was born, a Festivus for the rest of us.
Ah, yes, now it's time to air our economic grievances of the year.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
Yes, that's right. It is almost Festivus. Festivus is technically tomorrow.
Okay.
But, Mike, you're not going to be here tomorrow.
No,
so.
I'm going to be doing something far more challenging than hosting this radio show, which is attempting to navigate the Midwest.
Yeah, Mike.
Via
insane.
Via minivan.
Okay.
Mike is going to be attempting to recreate the perfect storm on land.
Yes.
Basically
correct.
by going directly through two separate snowstorms en route to his in-laws.
Driving to Chicago from Boston over the next day and a half.
So, today is Festivus, and as you heard, hey, we got to air some economic grievances. Now, I've got a bunch of them.
You do, yeah. You're
I've
ready
got
to
a
roll.
bunch. Do you want me to do these in chronological order or in order of what I found least to most offensive this year?
I don't want to miss out on the most offensive if we take too long here. So why don't you go? We'll kind of switch off on your major economic
How
grievances.
many do you have?
I've got 25.
He's got 25. We're not going to get through
Okay.
25.
You told me I had a whole segment.
Give me your top 5.
No. I'm going to do the whole thing.
Let's start with, you can't just fly through these. We've got to discuss them.
Yeah.
Well, some of these you can fly through. Okay. I'm going to start just with the first one that I had for this year, which was the Peloton. They appointed a new CEO in February of this year and had a Zoom to do so. You started seeing, all of these employees, complaining during it, and basically they had to shut the call off midstream because it was going so badly for the new CEO that they just basically blew up the Zoom feed, and that's probably the best thing that's happened to Peloton this year because the stock has only gone down since then.
Yes, that's correct.
What do you got?
I will air my grievance on Airbnb and Vrbo for continuing to have these ridiculous service fees that are kind of buried until you actually go and pop things up at the very last second. So if you're looking at an Airbnb site and comparing it to, for instance, Hotels.com and looking at the nightly cost of one of these locations, Hotels.com will give you the all-inclusive price unless there's like a resort fee or something along those lines. When you go to Airbnb, you go look at a price, and then they tack on sometimes double the price in cleaning fees, service charges, and everything else, and I find that incredibly frustrating to the point where so many other people do too, that they appear to be changing their policy on this and starting to wrap it all in.
Happy Festivus.
Mike, 2021 was a pretty good year for the housing market, right? Last year? One of the best years
Yes.
we've ever seen.
Yeah.
On February 11th of this year, Zillow announced that they somehow lost $881 million flipping homes during 2021. That should have been theoretically impossible based on how quickly home prices were going up, and yet Zillow's own algorithm worked against them by making them pay too much for the inventory that they were buying.
Very good.
It's a Festivus miracle.
You're going to have to keep going because I've only got 3.
Okay,
So
I'll do a few for these. March 14th, UPS. They forgot to make ferry reservations to send packages to Nantucket. So they had no way to get packages to Nantucket for the first part
how
of the
did that
summer.
resolve itself?
Don't
Forgot
know
about that one.
Don't know. I don't know
I
anyone
did
on
too.
Nantucket, but I'm assuming UPS figured out how to get packages there, but they forgot to book ferry space for their packages this year.
Just
I
like
got a lot of problems with you people.
March 21st, AMC. They raised a bunch of money during the meme stock craze. Then they decided to buy a gold mine.
they sure did.
Happy
Not a
Festivus.
figurative gold mine either.
The Segway, okay, and this is kind of, how on Twitter it's, how it started and how it's going? So that's how it started. They bought a gold mine. Today, AMC stock down 25% after announcing they need to raise more capital to continue operations.
Wait, today?
Today.
A Festivus for the rest of us.
You got another one
At
for me,
the
Mike?
gold mine or just in general?
Don't know.
Okay.
Don't know.
Yeah, mine's a little bit less specific. You ever have to enter your username and password on the TV for these streaming services using that terrible keyboard
Yes.
and pointing the mouse in the different
Yes.
directions?
Oh, yeah.
That is the worst user experience out there. Now, granted, a lot of these have moved to, hey, go to this website and put in this ID code
Yeah.
and you'll do it, and they'll bypass that. But anytime I have to use the keyboard on any streaming site is a poor experience. You need to find a better solution.
April 1st, JCPenney. They announced, hey, we're not going after new customers now. We're just going to love those who love us. April 1st of this year was the year that JCPenney officially gave up. again, it's just what are we really doing here? August 18th, Bed Bath & Beyond. CEO Ryan Cohen made $68 million in basically what was a pump and dump scheme in which the stock was all talked up over the course of the week, and then he exited and, made, again, $68 million while left a bunch of retail traders holding the bag. Not great. August 19th, Snap had been working on a flying drone, just canceled it. We can't sell hardware. They've tried to for years. We can't do it. September 1st, we got a new ship stuck in the Suez Canal this year.
We did. It only lasted like a couple hours, though.
2 years in a row. It's a pretty good one. September 28th, McDonald's announced they would be bringing back Happy Meals. Well, not bringing back. They announced adult Happy Meals. Because when you're 30 years old, you really just need to pay extra for a cheap little plastic toy.
So we're going to tease this one, and I know that we have, but this is actually a giant and growing segment for a lot of these toy companies, Legos themselves included. I know there's a story about, remember Light Brights?
Yes.
So they sell those things for like $15. If you want to get an adult one that you can hang on your wall as like wall art, they're like $100.
What's an adult Light Bright?
Nothing. There's no difference. They just know that they can market it towards adults with money and sell it for $100 as opposed to the $15 child one. And they probably use some different colors and different designs, and they let you hang it on your wall instead.
So there's that. Should I continue going?
Yes.
Okay. On October 24th, a survey from Lending Tree reported that 22% of millennials were going into debt because of dating.
Happy Festivus.
Millennials, do better. If you have to take out debt in order to marry him or her, not even to marry, just to date him or her.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered
It's
the
not
debt for
worth it.
Debt for weddings, debt for dating. Oh no.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
Find someone who loves you for your savings account, not for your mortgage. November 18th, on the eve of the World Cup, Qatar announced that they were banning beer from it.
That might be the top.
Then we get into, I've got my top 5 now.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with, on September 14th, Paul Lane, co-host of the Financial Exchange.
Oh, wow.
Announced that he believed garlic to cost $7 a head.
Quote me on that.
$7 per head of garlic.
It's a Festivus miracle.
Quote me on that.
May 12th and August 2nd, Carvana tried to lay 2,500 workers off via Zoom. It didn't work. The Zoom crashed. Kind of like Carvana stock.
Oh, boy.
August 2nd, Robinhood decides they're going to be laying off 23% of their staff. They start the email to their staff, "Dear Robinhoodies."
Oh.
A Festivus.
Makes you feel good as you're getting laid off. And my top 2, okay, these are both brought to you by legacy media outlets. The first from the Washington Post. 7 ways that a recession could be good for you financially.
Yeah. I remember that one.
Housing prices may come down. Savings rates are up. I-bonds rates may go even higher. The dollar's king. Unemployment's still low right now. Your used car is worth more right now. Student loan forgiveness is coming, maybe. None of this has to do with the actual recession.
This poor writer who is just given a task by his editor saying, no, you got to find 7. Make them up if you have to.
And my number 1 economic grievance for this year. Quote, if you're one of the many Americans who became a new pet owner during the pandemic, you may want to rethink those costly pet medical needs. It may sound harsh, but researchers don't actually recommend pet chemotherapy for ethical reasons. Yes, that was Bloomberg back on March 13th telling you that if your pet gets sick and inflation is high, you should just let your pet die because that's the right thing to do.
We talked about that one all year.
It would just be tough to top that one.
Yeah, that was a pretty ugly one.
So that is my top economic grievance for this year. Is
Happy
Bloomberg
Festivus.
saying, hey, don't worry, if inflation's high, all you got to do is let your pet die.
Yeah, I guess if I were to choose one economic grievance of the year, it would be a bone to pick with the Federal Reserve completely botching their picture of where inflation was going to go throughout all of 2022.
Oh, yeah.
Not as fun to talk about, but certainly most impactful in terms of my Festivus grievances would be the alleged best economist in the world moving too slowly on interest rates and then needing to hike them so rapidly that most people believe we're going to enter recession next year.